symptom could be high estrogen from the ovaries. So you have this high estrogen that can come and block the thyroid. So do you have a history of heavy periods? Do you have a history of a lot of menstrual issues? So that's one, that's two, and then the third one would be autoimmune. That's adrenal. Yeah. So let's talk about autoimmune just for a second. I'm just using her as an example. This book right here, it might be backwards, I don't know. It's called SIBA. It's volume 4, and this is interesting. If we look at the adrenal hormones called cortisol, it says right here that if cortisol is too high, your antibodies will start to be released, and you become very susceptible to all sorts of autoimmune conditions. And that's why most autoimmune cases are treated with steroids. What's a steroid? An adrenal hormone. So all autoimmune problems are adrenal triggered. So again, we don't want to necessarily treat the disease, we want to get the adrenal glands up and get it working better. So, oh, okay, so some people can't see the drawing. Okay, well, darn it. Let me just try it now. Yeah, you're probably not going to be able to see it because my writing is very small. So, sorry about that. I'll have to. Well, you know what? Here's what I did. I created about 7 thyroid videos. I'll be releasing them on YouTube every day for the next 7 days. So you can go on there and watch as much as you want on the thyroid. I cover all this data. But if you don't know the YouTube channel, just go to my blog, drberg.com, and then click the blog. And then they're all YouTube videos. You just click right into the YouTube, and then you can see my my page. It's Dr. Eric Berg 123. Okay, that's the channel name. All right. It says, my husband is a thyroid with a health condition and meds, years trying to lose weight, and nothing. Well, if it's not autoimmune, it's either a gallbladder problem or it's an estrogen problem. Chances are it's not going to be estrogen for him. So he needs, if you just had him take some bile salts, you can either get gallbladder formula or just go to the store and get bile salts, purified bile salts. You're going to find that T4 will start converting to T3 a lot better. When you go from T4 to T3, it's what happens is T4 is the number of iodine molecules, and that's an inactive form. And then once taken off, becomes T3, and then it becomes the active form. Bile helps that conversion. Without bile, you will have a big problem with converting the thyroid hormones. In fact, if you take a little bile, you just might find that you don't need as much medication on your thyroid. It's one of the simplest thing that you can do. Where do you get bile salts? You can get them from the health food store. I have them in a product called Gallbladder Formula on my website. You can do that if you want. Okay, so if you're on Synthroid, yeah, okay, this is good. If you're taking Synthroid, you're taking thyroid medication, and you're not losing weight, and you're still tired, we know for a fact that you are secondary. It's not primary. So, in other words, it's not going to work because you're not feeling any better. You're just treating a secondary problem. It's just not going to work. How does it help conversions? Well, there's two main thyroid. There's actually 3 or 4 different thyroid hormones, but you have the inactive version, and then you have the active version. Synthroid is inactive. It's a T4. And so the question is, how do we turn it into T3 to make it work? Well, that's done through your liver. And you need bile, B-I-L-E, to be able to strip off that iodine to make it work. Okay? So yes, it traces back to digestion. So here we have the situation. You're trying to lose weight. You're tired. You got a thyroid problem. But even deeper, we got a digestive problem. This is all going to be in the book that I'm writing now because you have to pull a string, and that's why you have to ask questions, and you can't just start treating things higher on the list because they're not going to work. But you have to know the right questions to ask. And the doctors just do not ask these questions deep enough. They pretty much treat the tip of the iceberg, so you have to go deeper. Okay, good. Dr. Berg, I had a hysterectomy 10 months ago. Kept one over. I'm taking kelp, chase tree for the past 2 months. I don't know what to do anymore. Okay, so she had a hysterectomy. All right, this is good because the hysterectomy, all that did is it removed a lot of your parts and it forced your body to force your adrenals to work twice as hard. The adrenal gland is the backup to the ovary and the uterus. When you have those organs dismantled and taken out, the adrenal gland has to work harder and harder and harder and harder and harder. So what you need to do is support the adrenal gland. You can do it with the do-it-yourself acupressure, or you can also do it with a product I have. It's called Adrenal Support. It's a recovery nutrient. But whatever you do, your goal is to improve the adrenal with the backup to the ovary because those organ parts are gone. So I think you have one ovary. That's going to probably help you lose weight way more than treating the ovary itself. So because you have the backup organ. Okay, so yeah, I know. Here's another person who no change with taking thyroid medication. Well, you know it's just not the right thing. If you get the right problem and the right solution, you will feel better, and it shouldn't take 20 years. And I have people that are on Synthroid for 20 years, and the doctor says, well, just keep taking it. Okay. Okay, so I have my little notes right here. It's my notes from my book. If you can read that, it's backwards. This is a very rough draft, by the way. It's just so I can wrap my head around what I'm doing. But yeah, there's I'm going to be doing some more webinars, so I just want to touch on this. But like for sleep, for example, here's some common reasons why people can't sleep. The adrenals burnt out. Okay, that's a given. They have sleep apnea. That's a different problem. That's the sinuses. They can't breathe. They can't breathe through the sinuses because they have sleep apnea, and the mucous membranes are swollen on the nose. So the air doesn't get in. So they basically can't. They're actually can't sleep because they can't breathe. Hot flashes is another common cause to sleep. But you know, even a bigger, more common cause of sleep problems is digestion problems. It's bloating. It's basically trying to go to sleep with your stomach all bloated because you ate the wrong foods or other reasons. If you eat the wrong foods or you're eating too much fiber and healthy food, even like cruciferous vegetables, even some people do the kale shake, they get bloated. And then what happens is they're not going to be able to sleep. Why? Because the brain, there's a second brain in your gut. And a lot of the nerves go up from the gut up into the head, and only 10% goes down and 90% goes up. So whatever's going on in your gut is going on in your head. So if you have brain fog, you can't rest at night, chances are it could be your digestive system. And then we have high blood pressure or high pulse rate. That can keep you up. And then your bladder. I just did a video on bladder problems. I'll release that this week as well. So there's urinary bladder problems. That's going to keep you up. And then we have muscle cramps. So we got adrenal, sleep apnea, hot flashes, bladder, high blood pressure, cramps, and digestion. So that's pretty much kind of what we're going to go. Is we're going to go deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. Okay, so let's see here. What do you think of a high-fat, low-carb diet to lose weight? Okay, Jennifer, I think that's a great idea because you're going to stimulate fat burning, and yes, the fat is going to force you to lose weight, and so is the low carb. The only thing you got to make sure with that, Jennifer, is you have to make sure that your liver and your gallbladder can digest that fat. So if you start to feel bloated or stuffed or even right shoulder pain, then we know that your gallbladder needs some support. So just take into consideration that you might want to add more bile salts as you increase more of that fat. Other than that, I think it's something good to lose weight. I think it'll help you. Does the gallbladder formula have the bile salts? Yes, it does. Does gallbladder formula or the bile salts help with dissolving stones? Yes. it does. In my gallbladder formula, I have something called stone root and a lot of other nutrients to help break down stones. Why do adrenal types lose their buttocks? Mine's almost flat. I don't think it's just age. Well, good question. Let's open SIBA and I'll show you what happens. So you can see this body right here. It says right here, the overall catabolic, that's a breakdown effect of the adrenals, brings about marked muscle wasting of the quadricep and the glutamus maximus. So what happens, that's your butt muscle and your leg muscles. The way to know that you have a problem with that is that you can't do deep squats and climb properly because your legs and your butt are becoming atrophied. Your body is stealing protein and converting it into sugar in the gut as a survival mechanism. Okay, Dr. Berg has a video on cramps. Check it on YouTube. Calcium, yeah. There's really 3 causes of cramps. One is too much calcium with too low magnesium. So we got low magnesium, high calcium. Okay, that's one. The way to fix that is take some magnesium. Number 2 is low potassium. That's a no-brainer. Just consume the amount of vegetables that you need, and then you'll actually be fine. And number 3, it's the side effect from medications. That's a very common one as well. So those are the 3 causes of cramps. There's other ones, they're not as common. Okay, Linda asked what about probiotics? Okay, yeah, now that's a whole different video, but probiotics is probably the #1 thing people really need because of the fact that you have 100 trillion microbes living around and in your body right now, and you only have 100. Let's say no, it's 100. No, it's 1,000 trillion microbes living in your cells, which are only 100 trillion. So you're basically only 1/10 of what's on your body, and you have a lot of other things in there. And these microbes really, really help you. They can hurt you, but they can help you. They break down waste. They make vitamins. They help protect your immune system, and they actually do a lot of the digestion of your fibers in your colon. I do want to mention this. When people do Chapter 10 on my diet, a lot of times I tell them to do about 7 cups of vegetables, but then they figure if I do that much, more is going to be better. So they do more and more and more and more and more until they come in and their gut is just completely distended because all that, they don't have enough microbes to digest all that fiber. So you might want to lower the fiber and see how much, even vegetable fiber, see what you can tolerate. I have a sleep problem. Take 2 to 3 hours to fall asleep again. Happens twice each night. Stay in bed for as long as it takes. As far as sleeping goes, let's pull up the check sheet on that. So if you don't have sleep apnea, then do you have hot flashes? Do you have a bladder problem? Do you have high blood pressure, cramps? If you don't have those, then we know it's the adrenal, so you'd want to support the adrenal. There's a couple things that I do before bed, and I just want to show you this acupressure device. I built this from China that mimics my hand, and I do this on patients all the time. I put this right at the top of the back of my head right here, and that's at a location of the major the recovery points in your body. So you can just tack this up. You can put this on your couch, and you can just sit back and let gravity just do all the work. And about a couple minutes, like 2 or 3 minutes, I'll be like ready to go to bed. So I do this every night before I go to bed. It's a great treatment device. But you can do it on your adrenals as well. Why the adrenal body types can't do intense exercise if you're recommending to activate fat burning, it has to do with this, and I think I'm going to try this one more time. I'm going to try to pop this open right here and show you. Maybe you might be able to see this, maybe not, but let me just show you something. When you exercise, you stress your body out, and then you stop.